What in the world is going on, Bob? It looks like you're back in Omaha. We're going to talk about that today. Hello everyone, Semi-Retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. I am doing a challenge starting on Monday. No particular reason. Well, I'll explain why it's going to start on Monday rather than right now as we work through our way through this video. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. What you're watching is you're watching me walk. I know that doesn't seem super exciting, but if you consider 2.5 years ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for a couple minutes without severe pain. It gets a little bit more interesting. The wind is kind of whipping around out here, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But if you're returning to the channel, welcome back. It means a lot to me that you spend just a couple of minutes of your day with me. I would like to ask everyone to help me out just a little bit. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Drop down in the comments and say, "Hi, Bob." And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. All these things are absolutely free and help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life. I'm starting up that hill, and we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. This is just your friendly reminder that if you're adding new exercises, whatever that exercise may be sure and do it slowly so you don't injure yourself. Before we get into today's topic, while I was out and about, I watched Professor K talking with, well, if you've seen the interview, you've seen the interview. But every once in a while, it's good to fact check even those we trust. So, the very, very beginning of the video, this kid that he was talking to said, "Well, I don't want to be doxxed like everybody else on your show." And Professor K told him what the true definition of doxing was. And the kid argued with him for a little bit. So I went out to Dr. Google and just typed in what is doxing. And lo and behold, Professor K was correct. I went 5 pages deep into the Dr. Google search, and every article said the same thing. So it's always a good idea to check stuff once in a while, because I'll be honest, I've heard the term for a couple, 3 years now, but I didn't really know what doxing was. And now I do, because I looked it up and discovered, what do you know? Professor K is actually right. It's not too bad out today. It's currently 49 degrees. The freeze is coming. It's supposed to start dropping into the 20s next week. But it's an okay day. It's not West Texas, but it is what it is. So let's get on into this thing. Now that I've turned the corner, I'm going to slow down just a little bit. As you all know, I've been getting ready for quite some time to go to my off-grid land down in Texas. I even specifically asked before I bought the land, is there road access? And of course, you all have seen the pictures. There are definitely roads there in all of the pictures. I get down there, and there's no road. To cover some of the questions I got on that short I posted, yes, I have right-of-way. There is supposed to be a road with easement all the way through the north side of my property and the ones on either side of it. I suspect that the person that sold me the land didn't know the road wasn't there, because he's just working off the Google Maps pictures. And I did talk to my neighbor to the southwest of me, and he said he's lived out there for almost 3 years now, and the state of the land was pretty much the same. He had to get a road cut back into his property. He actually did it himself, because there is a rental company that will bring heavy equipment out and drop it on the county road right by where you want to use it. But if I knew how to run that stuff, I'd consider doing it myself, but I still probably wouldn't, because he said for rental fees he paid about $4,000 3 years ago, which tells me the roads that are supposed to be in the area have been screwed up for longer than that. But I spent some time while I was down there talking to people and calling people, and the one guy I found that made sense, he's like, you could rent a piece of equipment for a few $1,000s and do it yourself, or you could even contract one of these people that are willing to do it cheaper, and by cheaper I mean $4,000 to $5,000. But he said what you really want to do it right and make it sustainable is to hire somebody that really knows what they're doing to actually build a roadbed, put in a culvert between the county road and the road into your property, so that this particular situation doesn't happen again. Because what you guys have to understand, I forgot to take pictures of it because I was so mad the whole time I was down there, that you would have needed a very aggressive monster truck to get into my property the way it is right now. Because it looks like at some point in the past, if you look on the northern edge of the pictures that I use in the background of my live streams, there's a darker spot that is a wash. That's where when it rains, the water runs down out of the mountains and collects there. And it looks like at some point there was a big enough rain that the wash overflowed and blasted this whole section of land next to the road. And then when the county came back through to clear the county road, it looks like they just took a great big snowplow and cleared all of the sand and silt and crap off of the county road and just pushed it off to the side like they do snow. So consequently, I wasn't looking at a little bit of rough. I'm looking at a pile of junk overhead height for about 100 feet in. My truck's four-wheel drive, but I can't go through that. Even some of the biggest jacked up four-wheel drive Jeeps couldn't go through that. So I thought for a little while about trying to find someplace else to set up so that I could stay down there and work on it this winter. But then I got looking at it and thinking about it, and there are a couple of reasons why I just turned around and came home for now. As those of you that have been following the channel for a while know, I stayed home last winter to save up money so that I could start doing what I have to do down there, rather than just sitting down there watching the weather go by. and not having enough money to get anything done. Getting this road cut in will cost quite a bit more than I have saved up. So I came home to save money for another year in case I have to pay to have a road put in. I've got an email into the guy that sold me the land. He's going to look into options and get back to me. I'm not sure what we're going to do about this yet, but I'm confident that we're going to do something, whether we go in halves on the road or we do a land swap to a different piece of property. There are a lot of options. And Billy at the country land store has been pretty good to deal with, so we'll see what happens there. But the other reason I didn't stay down there is because I was so loaded up to start doing, the homestead thing, that big portable garage tent was in my trailer, and there's not a campsite in the world that they're going to let me set that thing up on, and that needs to be set up so I have places to put stuff so that I can sleep in my bedroom, because I can't sleep in the truck. Now, I've slept in the truck, and I can sleep in the truck if I can lay the seat back, because that's, like an easy chair. I can sleep in that, but when my truck is so loaded with stuff, I can't even move the seat back, let alone lay it down. So I just saw no way to stay down there and try to deal with this. Because again, I could take all the money I've got plus borrow a little bit from my sister or my boss at Miniature Golf and get it taken care of this year. But then I'd be right back to where I was. Oh, that's a pretty dog. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. I don't know what kind of dog that was, but very pretty. But anyway, so I didn't want to just sit down there not being able to do anything. I may go back down depending on how we get things worked out. But right now my thought is to just stay in Omaha again this winter, save money again, so that I'm ready to go next year. There's still a lot of questions and a lot of variables. But this is just one of those things that I've been talking about since starting the carnivore diet. I didn't realize how bad my mental state was, but I do know that, not that I would have been healthy enough to try and do homesteading 3 years ago, but 3 years ago, if this had happened, I'd have just said, oh, crap, well, that's the end of that dream. But now, I'm clear enough that I realize this isn't the end, it's just a different beginning. And as long as we have the courage to take one step forward and start down that new journey path, everything's going to be all right. So that's the story with that. I have a new challenge that we're going to start on Monday. You don't necessarily have to go along with me on this one, but it's what I'm going to do. The reason it's not starting today is because I'm still pretty stiff and sore. Because I drove straight through to Texas, spent about 12, 13 hours dealing with the problem, thinking about the problem, coming up with some solutions, realized I couldn't stay down there, because there's no way to empty my trailer out so I could sleep in it, even if I bought a campsite for a month. So I then turned around and came home, all without ever getting sleep. So yes, I was up for 2 days straight, drove a little more than 2,000 miles in that stretch. So I have to be honest with you, I had originally thought, as I was thinking of this, and the last 5-6 hours of my drive back home, wow, that wind's really starting to pick up. Hopefully you can still hear me. I had thought I was going to start today, but after sitting in my truck for that long, I have to admit I'm still pretty sore. Not sore like I used to be, but that much driving at my age is still a little stressful on the body. So it is Saturday, so I'm gonna watch some college football and do some stretches today. I did want to get out and get this walk in just to start the process of things moving and getting recovered. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do for the rest of the year when we get back to the house. For now, let's go ahead and cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. So here we are approaching the house. As many of you that have been following the channel for a long time know, I did a 15,000 steps challenge back in March of 2023 that I failed at because I forgot to factor in the fact that I'd be coming back to Omaha, so there were 4 or 5 days in there that I didn't get any walking in. And I want to do something interesting and fun for me, just to prove to myself I can do it. I had originally planned on being down in Texas. So starting Monday through the end of the year, I'm going to do no excuses, 20,000 steps a day, 6 days a week. I have already talked to Mary Lorraine, and I'm going to be back in dance class again on Tuesdays. So I don't want to try and push for 20,000 steps and do a dance class. So I'm going to do 20,000 steps with Tuesdays off. But I'm also going to do push-ups and squats. I've been doing them, but I'm going to do them more purposefully every day. Not every day for each. I'm going to do push-ups one day and squats the next. We all know that, so many people like to say, oh, we're going to do 100 push-ups a day or 200 or whatever the number is. I'm not going to pick a number because we all know the correct way to do exercises is you do push-ups to failure in the first step, meaning you can't do any more. You stop, you rest 5 minutes, and then you do another set. Maybe it's 40 push-ups in the first set and 25 in the second. Maybe you're a beast like Jonathan at Carnivore Muscle and you do 150 in the first set and 100 in the second. Whatever it is, I'm going to do push-ups one day and squats the next. And again, taking Tuesday off because I'll probably take a short walk on Tuesday just to make sure I'm outside every day regardless of the weather. I did it in January of last year when it was frightfully cold. The weather's not supposed to get that cold. It usually doesn't get that gross here in Omaha until after Christmas. So that's what I'm going to be doing. 20,000 steps a day plus either push-ups or squats to failure every day from now to the end of the year. Well, from Monday. I'm going to take the rest of the day and all of tomorrow to just do some stretches and get caught up on stuff. But, yeah, and I'm going to try to record everything. I will speed it up as much as my editing software allows me to speed it up because you guys don't want to sit there and listen to 35 minutes of music and just watching me walk on the screen. That would be boring. So I'm going to try to get it as sped up as I can to make the videos not quite as long. But I also feel it's important to show you everything because I'm not saying anybody does this, but there are some YouTube channels out there that say this is what we're going to do this month, but then they never show you what they were doing. So how do you know? How do we know they're really doing that? We don't. One more quick thing before I let you go. In watching that same interview, the roid logic was astounding. I'm obviously better than you and smarter than you because I can bench press 400 pounds. What? Kid, the roids are talking for you. You need to get off those things. But hopefully some of what I said today made sense. Hopefully that answers all of the questions everybody had about what happened in Texas with my off-grid property. If you have any other questions about that, stop by my private Facebook group or send me an email. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have, but I've said what I'm going to say in public about this, and let's just move on to the next step, which is getting ready to go to Texas next year. For now, I'm going to stay in Omaha and get outside and walk every day regardless of how bad the weather is. Like I said, hopefully some of what I said today made sense. Don't forget, guys, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Oh, before I let you go, Saturday, weekly wins. Get down in the comments and tell me what your win is this week. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.